Hey friend, welcome back to another episode of my channel. I'm Jeff. I'm an artist, illustrator, and maker. I work primarily with cardboard and I make a whole bunch of different things, from wearables, I do illustrations, I make jewelry and products, I do client work, installations, murals, a whole bunch of different things, but today's little episode is me making one of my cardboard mirrors. So essentially a mirror with a cardboard frame around it that is going to be exhibited at an exhibition in the end of 2024. So this is me in the future doing it for later, so it's a little bit confused, but yeah, basically the mirror that I make in this episode I exhibit in an exhibition, and yeah, I want to show you the process of what it's like to make this mirror, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, for this project, it's a group show that I'm doing with a bunch of friends. So the exhibition is called Summer Disco, and it's all about being inspired by sunny days, breezy nights, sort of the nature and sort of liveliness of summer. Well, that's what I'm getting from it. I don't really do that many group shows because I just haven't made time for it, and I guess I don't necessarily feel like I'm in the art world a lot. I'm much more in the design corporate-y kind of space, I guess. I don't know. It's one of my hang-ups is that I always feel like a little bit removed from the art world, that I'm not necessarily a part of it for some reason. So I just liked the idea that my friends were putting it on. I want to do a show with them. From who I know who's doing it, a lot of us do markets together. So this is our chance to show the art side of our practice and not just the commercial selly side, I guess, of our work. So my concept, I was drawing at home the other day. This is it here in a sketchbook that wasn't for my concepts, so I had to rip it out. I wanted to revisit an old idea or something that I have been experimenting with in the studio, and finding a concept that I just didn't want to do another flower basically or anything floral. So I got really inspired by the idea of the pool and swimming. There was a few early concepts where I was looking at ideas of being sunburnt or aloe vera, because I get burnt so easily and I live with aloe vera in the summer. Cucumbers, because I love cucumbers and that reminds me of summer. But the type of work or the type of concepts I was developing, I just don't think I have the time to explore it more. So I had to approach this by revisiting an old idea that I know the process works, I know the outcome will work, but the way that I present it and the theming around it is what I get to play with in this one. So that's why I went to this idea of a mirror, and all these other ideas I'm going to save in my notebook and maybe just explore in my own time. I'm going to show you some of my old mirrors, or one of my old mirrors and one of my more recent ones that were inspiration. Will I be able to get it out? Probably not. So this is one of my original mirrors. It's from 2016. It even has my old little name that I used to go by, Cardigan Threads Collective, on it. I really love it. This used to hang in my old share house, sideways like this, and I just love the idea of it. So it's a mirror with a cardboard frame essentially, and then I've got the backing, very DIY support. Yes, that's this one. And then the more recent one that I did, I just have to find it. I found it. It's here. So it is a handheld mirror. And this one was, or is, for my market stalls. I wanted a fun little mirror that people could hold when they're trying on their earrings. So it's got the flower on the back. It's got some little sparkles as well, which I'm really liking in my practice. I think the sparkles are a really good addition for an extra little bit of it's like adding glitter onto a mural or an artwork or something like that. The sparkles just create something really fun for it. I did this scalloped edge, which was really hard to do. And it also, I don't think it's the best for a mirror that's like being used because it cuts in so much and you can't really see as much of the mirror. So although aesthetically it's pretty pleasing and interesting, I think for a little mirror it's not the best, which is why I wanted to slightly change it for the big mirror and do it as pieces stuck on rather than cutting it out. Because it also means that you can see, I'll do a close-up, but you can see the underlayer of the scalloped edges, which means I had to paint the back of the cardboard, which is why I knew I had to do that for this one. So yes, I've slightly tweaked it for the bigger mirror. But yeah, that's the other little one I made. So the reason why I wanted to do a mirror is that I still wanted a layer of interactiveness to the artwork. I really like the idea of going into an art gallery and having people play with the work in some way. Obviously I don't want them to touch it, but if they can take a selfie in it, that's always great. Or there's an element of like play. And I just realized I have one more mirror looking at me that I'm going to show you now as well. This is a little sample one that I'm using for my workshops as like a prototype inspiration kind of example. Nice and small, just cardboard. Yes, there's flowers on it, but I will be ignoring those for this one. So, yeah.
Go for no harder. No, the bison look like this. Okay, I told you I was getting heated about this topic. Do you think the cows would survive? And then
so, going back to the original sketch, so like something like this. See, I started with flowers originally. Got away from it really quick. This is the original concept here, playing around with the different layering. And this is what I've got to. So the shape of it, I like the idea that it's inspired by the shape of a pool, a really organic jelly beanie kind of shape. And I wanted to have, this is where the mirror goes in the middle. I wanted to have almost like the pool water wrapping around it and doing like a ripply, bubbly kind of effect, similar to what I did with my costume, doing the little circular coins that are put together to create like a layered water effect. So that's like this layer here. Then if I take that away, underneath I've got this little scalloped edge that goes on the very underside closest to the mirror, and then on the outside I have this little band of pattern that wraps around, which I'm using inspiration from like towels and that kind of thing. So the actual pattern itself might change or might get a little bit thicker depending on how much space I have within the size restrictions, but I want that to sort of reflect sort of like the towels around the edge of the pool, and then inside you're in the pool when you're looking at yourself in the reflection of the mirror. Something that really works well for me when I'm drawing on my iPad is I can layer everything up, and it allows me to work out exactly how to construct it as well, or at least start to think about that. Because if I'm grouping layers together, I know that, like, for instance, this towel layer, I know in theory could be one layer of cardboard that's on the bottom. On top of that is the next layer, which is like this, which in theory, I guess, would be, if I'm going to draw it correctly, you know, would be more like that and go all the way to the edge. Then the next layer on top of that would be, so like that's the scalloped edge layer. Then you've got the little pool water ring layer, frame layer. Then I have all my bubble layer that goes on top of that. And then I can see straight away that there's the all the layers. So yeah, so now that I've done that, I'll probably print it out, or maybe might even trace it out, not too sure yet, and use that as my starting point. And we'll see how much it looks like this at the very end as well. I'm going to predict it's going to look slightly different. So I'm going to use this paper, and I just double checked the documents for the artwork for this exhibition, and it can be no larger than 60 by 60, including a frame. I'm going to make a 60 by 60 square and then make everything fit within that. And the aim is to make the templates for all those layers that I drew on my iPad. And that way I will be able to use those to then cut the cardboard. And then if I want to make a few different frames in the future, I've got the template there already. So let's cut some templates. So this will be the hole where the mirror will go. So it's just a matter of working out if this is big enough. I also have to consider the fact that I'm going to do the scalloped edge, which now I'm thinking about it might be too much. I don't know. As well. So is there enough room for people to put their faces in it and like get a selfie? I think it should be fine. Let me think about it. Now I have my 3 different layers of templates cut out. I have some little pieces of cardboard to use, so I can now create a little diagram that's going to work out how many pieces of cardboard I need and like the layering of it all. And I'm going to plan out as well at what stages I need to paint and glue things together. So this is a process that I will do for a lot of my builds. Another time I did this was with my giant flowers, which I made in another video. So essentially it's a layering, like a drawing that sort of shows the different layers of the cardboard and like how it's going to be assembled. And it just gives me the chance to go, okay, I need a backing board that moves through to like the next piece, which is the towel layer that the mirror gets inserted into. Then I need to create some sort of depth with the ripple effect, which then the pool gets put on top of that, and then the small ripples get put on top of that. And so it makes sure I don't forget any step, and it also means I can work out if I need to put any extra layers of cardboard as like little filler layers to create depth. And it also allows me to work out which way to cut the cardboard, whether it's like up and down, like portrait, or like landscape, like side to side, to make sure that it's got stability by like cross-hatching the cardboard pieces and creating strength either way. That way when I go to cut my templates, I just know, okay, I need to cut this one going sideways, and I need to cut this one going sideways as well. That kind of thing. I'll then go through and write a pretty quick list of like what order to do everything in, and this just helps me stay on top of everything, and hopefully I don't forget any steps. just went through all my different cardboard stashes to work out which pieces I could use for which. And I have one of these, which is actually from like a bike box, that'll be big enough to do all of the bigger pieces, and it's double corrugated, which is great. Smaller pieces, which can be used for the little ripples, and then also this cardboard, which I'm probably going to use for the small little scalloped edge as well, because I want it super thin. And now it's time to cut everything up and trace it. So I have all my cardboard in different stashes around the studio, and this one is actually a bike box that I got from a shop just down the road from my studio. So it's always handy to have different types of cardboard on hand, different thicknesses, different textures, because then that can create the contrast between everything. It's cut. The mirror didn't take as long as I thought, which is great. There's one lesson I learned from it, and it's I obviously can't cut out that extra little inverted piece, so I had to do a bit of a jimmy with this border piece, but that's okay. The best thing is it's ready to paint. I think this is going to turn out pretty good, and it's really interesting when you revisit an idea. At least for myself, I can see how much I've grown from the last time I did it. So I'm pretty excited to see this end result. I was definitely nervous to start with, but now I'm pretty excited, and I think it's also mirror-wise big enough to take a selfie in it as well. So that's good, because that was always the aim, was to get people to take some photos and interact with the art piece in the exhibition. And looking at it now, I always imagined it being sort of like a teardrop shape, but it could go other ways. I kind of feel like just like this shape is just much more pool-like. A decision for later. Yesterday I chose all my colors, so I am using some old paints from murals. So this is exterior house paint. I really liked these two blues together, they're really nice and subtle. So I'm going to use those for the pool, as well as this more darker ultramarine blue. And then I've found this, it might be too dry, we'll see what happens. More of like a tealy blue as well. So I think they're the 4 variations of the blue. And then I am going to use my Iron Lark fluids for the border, which represents the towels. So that it's a little bit more like pastel-y and vibrant, and I just like using these ones for smaller detail kind of thing. I did a little test to see what they look like together.
And I really like it. So I'm going to get changed so I don't get paint on my Millie Hall jumper, which I love. And I'm going to spend the afternoon painting and trying to get majority of the frame done. I have all my pieces painted, and so now what I like to do, did the back. So now what I'm gonna do is just sort of like lay it all together and just get an idea of what it could look like. I like to do this just to make sure that I've got all the layering done properly and I haven't forgotten something. It also just helps me to see if I need to do extra details or if something just like doesn't look quite right, especially because I know I'm usually good at changing my mind or doing too much detail, so it's a good chance to sort of play with that. But so the back, I did it as if it's like a pool, and then you turn around to the actual pool. I'm not sure the border is necessarily giving towel referencing, but it is what it is. So the next step is that I'm going to cut out all of these pieces into the tiny little coins again, and I'll start to get an idea of what it looks like on the frame. Yeah, okay, well, time to cut. So this is just doing a little quick test. Obviously these are going to be circles, but I just wanted to make sure that all the little pieces would work and making sure that the colors were the right fit, and like I wasn't sure if I wanted to do some white on it, but this is, yeah, just a quick way to make sure, and I think it's going to be pretty nice if I put that there. I'm quite happy with it. It really is going to be like a little mosaic effect. Circles that I originally cut for the sample are like that. And I'm going to make them smaller. Like this one's probably too big, but so it's going to be more like these three here. I think this is a good little mock-up. So it's a public holiday and I decided to come into the studio because I have to get the mirror finished by tomorrow. I have to take some photos of it tomorrow and send them off to the organisers of the exhibition. So it just has to be done. Luckily there's not too much to be finished, and I'm just going to probably time-lapse the next sort of bit of finishing off the bubbles on the front of the mirror, because it is a process that you have seen multiple times, and like I said in the moth video, I don't necessarily really need to explain it that much. So I'm gonna work on that for the day, and hopefully by the end I will have everything done and I will glue on the back hanging structure so it can dry overnight so I can take photos tomorrow. So let's go and do this and get it done.
Like pine. personality, Mr. Rogers, Firefly Funhouse, Speed. What do you think? All right, so they are both Speed.
I'm done. It only took me a few hours to finish it off, and I'm really happy with it. Now to fix up the back and clean the mirror, and a little update on the piece of cardboard that's stuck in there. Okay, I've made a boo-boo. I just took this out from being glued, and I realised that I'll show you maybe in a photo, but just here, between the mirror and the cardboard, I've accidentally stuck a tiny little bit of cardboard that was like one of the circle pieces. So it's wedged and it's glued in, and I think it's actually glued to the cardboard, not the mirror. So I don't know if I should try and rip it out. You can see it, so when you're looking at flat on, you can't see it. But as soon as you go up and look to the side, you can see it in there. I'm such an idiot. I thought I was being so careful. I'm just giving up on it. It's going to be there. It's just, I think it's glued in, so, and I don't want to rip the other layers of cardboard. It's just a nice little perk of something being handmade, is that there is a little mistake in it. Alright, time to fix up the back.
Just about them. No, but it probably, no, I don't think that. I can probably found a good standard and one that teaches abstinence until marriage. Are we doing math? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I don't know. How our life looks. Others, do you know about Canada? Please excuse my...
Alright. Welcome to the final stage of this project. So I'm now recording this after the exhibition, and I'm just going to go through how it all went from bump in till the very end. So once I finished the mirror, I took some quick photos and videos of it in the studio. I dropped it off with the other artists who were doing the whole setup and running the exhibition, which was really good. Everyone's artworks were really cool. I'm going to put some footage in now of just like what the exhibition looked like from the opening night. And yeah, everyone who was involved, they're all people, like I said before, who I do markets with. And everyone does such cool work. I'll put their handles or websites or something in the notes below, so you can go check them out and get some of their stuff. Support them. They're really cool artists and makers. The way the exhibition was all set out was pretty perfect in my eyes. I loved that everything was mixed in amongst each other, so it wasn't like one artist, one artist, one artist. They really curated it so all of our artwork sort of bled into each other. I also exhibited these two cardboard plates that were a last minute entry. They said there was a shelf if I wanted to put something on it, and I'd made these cardboard plates a while ago and hadn't done anything with them. So yeah, so it's this red and blue platter and plate that was really nice to put on display, and I might do more of those in the future. They were an early prototype that I wasn't sure if I wanted to do. The opening night was really fun. Lots of people came. I think all of our work really captured the summer vibes of the theming of the exhibition too. And yeah, I'm just really super happy with how the mirror itself turned out. But I also am really happy that I just did the exhibition, because it's been a while since I've done that, and it felt really nice to be able to go in and just do something for art's sake with my friends. The exhibition was on for, I think, like maybe close to 2 weeks, or maybe it was a week and a half. It was a bit of a blur. But basically, I'd said to them when I dropped off the artwork, oh, I'm going to take photos of it at the very end when I go back to my studio. And they were like, no, Jeff, you're going to sell this mirror. You're not going to get a chance to. I'm manifesting this. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then I think it was maybe like 2/3 of the way through the exhibition, I got a message from Steph and Amy saying that it had sold. Apparently, well, not apparently, this is what did happen. A lady was walking past, she looked through the window, saw the mirror, came straight in, said she loved it, and bought it on the spot, which is really, really great. And when I went in at the very end to pick up the platters that didn't sell, I actually ended up getting to meet the lady who bought the work, and she seemed so lovely and was just in love with it. So that was a really nice thing as well, to sort of hand it off to the person who bought it. She said she had a place in her house that she wanted to put it. So yeah, it was a really good result in the end. And so that was my cardboard mirror video. I hope you liked seeing the process of this. I had a lot of fun putting it together. I definitely, I've been editing the video for the past few days, and all I can tell you is I'm really sorry for how nasally and congested I was. I was definitely run down and sick when I was making that mirror. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm definitely wanting to make some more mirrors now going forward. And I think there's a really cool opportunity to maybe even move my mirrors into some like client projects for like public spaces and things like that. If you like this video, obviously let me know in the comments, say hello. If you think someone you know would like this, maybe go and share the video with them. And yeah, subscribe if you like it as well. But until then, I'll see you next time. Bye.